Hey everybody, my name is Nicole Franklin. I am with an Epiphany Conversation. Again, an Epiphany Conversation, Nicole Franklin. I'm so excited to be here tonight with everyone with a very special guest and panel of guests. It is International Men's Day, and I thought we'd do something really cool with a friend of mine, Abiola Abrams. She is an author, lifestyle expert, passionista. You've read her advice columns in Essence.com. You've seen her on camera repair relationships and several of these talk shows that are on the air. And I'm just so proud of her. And I just am really, really enjoying her latest book. So her latest book is The Sacred Bombshell, Handbook of Self-Love. And what does this have to do with International Men's Day? Well, we have 19 days of healing happening where we're talking to men about men and really discussing very important issues. And one that has come up is the relationship, that male-female relationship. When I'm going to use the term relationship tonight, I want to refer to it in the form of friend, lover, sister, mother, daughter. So not so much that it has to be a heterosexual relationship, but just the way that we relate to each other. And Abiola, her book is so positive and empowering. I mean, she's going to read some stuff tonight that's just going to blow you over, and I'm going to probably jump into with some of my favorite passages, but it's so empowering to women because I just realized that I get down too, and when I come home to that book, I'm like, wow, this has really picked me up. And so I'm so excited, and then we're going to throw it to our panel. We have a wonderful panel tonight, and again, it's Abiola Abrams, and we have Eduardo Garcia with us. Hi, Eduardo.
Hi, how's everything?
Good. He contributes a lot to one of our favorite online magazines, the Good Men Project, as well as he has his own platform, being Caballero. And from Nigeria, my new friend, Ijiwala. Hi, Ijiwala.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, everyone.
Yes, and he's been on with us before with the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. And then last but not least, Thomas Fiffer from the Good Men Project as well. Hey, Tom.
Hi, Nicole.
So fantastic. Oh, yeah, so excited to have everybody. Abiola, start us off. What is your knowledge and wisdom and transparency is so evident in your book. Please read some passages for us.
Sure, thank you. First of all, I really want to thank you, Nicole, for having this forum and having this conversation, that this is a conversation that I am passionate about, and because I speak primarily to women and coach primarily women, this is exciting for me to be in this room of testosterone. And the reason is that 50% of, the people in the world, the issues of 50% of the people in the world are not our issues alone. Women's issues are men's issues are women's issues, and we're all in this together. So I'm going to read you a little bit from the Sacred Bombshell Handbook of Self-Love. This is in a section called Ubuntu. The book is broken into 11 principles of feminine power, and the 11th one is Ubuntu, or community minding. And I'm going to read the Ubuntu Declaration. So this is something that, for you, the reader, that you would read every day, or, when you want to remind yourself of your power in community. The Sacred Bombshell knows that togetherness is the key to the evolution of human beings as a species. Educate a mother and you begin to liberate a village. Diplomatic communication, mutual respect, valuing the team and process-oriented approaches are the yin feminine energy keys to leadership, community, and the global tribe. Power does not come from a rejection of masculine energy leadership, but rather from yin and yang partnership. This is sacred self-love. The Ubuntu Declaration. I am a leader and my community is me. Giving my time, knowledge, and energy means that I will leave the world better than I found it. Previously, I lived a life of meager generosity, helping only when it was comfortable in order to stroke my own ego. Today, I realize a new truth. My giving back is not about me. My treasures are the dominion of my universal source. The riches bestowed upon me are directly proportional to the riches I share. I give not from duty or obligation of tithing. I give from my soul. I tithe from my heart to my brothers and sisters because they are me. If I cannot give knowledge, I will give coins. If I cannot give coins, I will give time. If I cannot give time, I will give prayers. Previously, I believed in the illusions of lack and limited resources. Today, I am clear that we are in this together. And that's just a little, I jumped around a little bit in one section, but that's an excerpt from the book.
That is beautiful. Applause, applause.
Thank you.
There's a lot of giving in that statement. And that's kind of where I was heading without you. I didn't know what you were going to read, and without you bringing that up, there's a lot of giving, but we have to be very self-assured about who we are as women before we do all of that giving, of course. And like you were mentioning, you know, that having the universe come through us, which is fantastic. There's confidence before you give, possibly, maybe. I just want to talk about how confidence plays into how we conduct ourselves and share ourselves with others. You know, that Femergy, I think you
Yes.
often refer to.
Yes, the reason why the community and the giving chapter is the last one in the book is that, you know, women, as Zora Neale Hurston put it, particularly, she was talking about black women specifically, are the mules of the society, that we're the ones that are always giving and always holding up, you know, others and thinking that, you know, give till it hurts is a saying that we have. I say the opposite. I say nothing is more important than you giving to yourself and then you feeling good in your bones, because if a mother doesn't love herself, she can't teach her children how to love themselves. If the children don't love themselves, then they're not going to go forward in the world and become self-reliant and productive human beings. And so having the feminine energy enough to be in a positive space for yourself, where you take care of you first, is everything. Everything.
Awesome. I want to just kind of jump in and ask Tom here your thoughts on that, Tom, because I know that we are really focusing on a lot of equality when it comes to men and respect. And maybe just tell me what your first impressions when you hear that statement about how hard women are naturally working, it feels like.
Well, I think, unfortunately, a lot of that often goes acknowledged, and there are really two major issues in relationships that cause problems and can ultimately break them apart. And one is entitlement. So if, for example, a man feels entitled to have a woman be doing all of this work or all of these things or holding up the family and therefore doesn't appreciate those things as the gifts that they are, then that creates resentment and unpleasantness and all sorts of things that are not healthy for relationships. So the work has to be acknowledged. The gifts have to be acknowledged as gifts, as true gifts of the soul. But the other thing is going back to the idea of abundance. The powerful thing that creates problems in relationships is fear of abandonment, fear of not being loved, fear of being attacked emotionally or physically or whatever it is. So that creates a terribly unhealthy dynamic in relationship, and a lot of that fear is often based on scarcity. That there's not enough love to go around, that there aren't enough women to go around for men, that all these kinds of thoughts. So if we can move past entitlement to acknowledgement, and if we can move past the fear of scarcity to this idea of abundance, then I think we really can go a long way towards improving relationships.
Excellent. Guys, which one of you wants to jump in next?
Well, in a way, her comments about community, that is an essence of what a family in itself is. It's a micro community within a community. The same thing as is any relationship, and by that I don't mean just husband-wife, I mean friendship, etc. You have to be there for everyone around you, and you can only be there when you have enough self-power and enough self-reliance to be there, enough assurance to be available for them. So that type of message is critical. It's an understanding that you can only be part of that community as much as you're willing to work for that community. Most of the times people just sit back and expect things to be
And we are having some difficulties with Eduardo's microphone, so that's why you guys hear that popping. But we will be jumping back and forth to him when we can. Eduardo, are you still there? There we go.
Yes, yes, I am. For
Mhm.
apparently, okay. Where did you lose me?
Well, we had that giving of the community, the giving of yourself to the community as a family. And I was going to actually jump in and ask, if that's reciprocated, if you felt, because we are agreeing that the woman is doing a
It
lot.
has. It has to be. It's not if it is. It has to be. It's the only way it can work.
Mhm.
If it's not, it's just simply one person receiving or one person being there as a figurehead, which is one of the most horrible things when they assume that the other person, their job is to serve them or to help them or just simply to hold up the fort, as
Right.
that horrible phrase works.
Exactly. And Ijiwala, I know people unfortunately are getting a horrible impression of where you are from in Nigeria right now with events happening, which we have discussed on a different occasion. But your thoughts, and I think that partnership, especially the way that Abiola describes it in her final chapter of the book, is coming from a West African tradition. So your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I like the what I read, what I listened when she read. It's so touching that I feel as if she's describing my own situation or my own environment because I can imagine when she was talking practically about the African woman, whereby she traditionally she is the owner of the home or the house. You see, even the husband rely on her, the children, the same thing. Even neighbors and relatives come when they step into the house. They ask, "Where is she?" She is the one in charge, and she gives not just the support as a woman, but she gives even the inspiration, the motivation. Because any moment you come into the house, you discover that the woman is there. You feel satisfied. You feel secured. Whatever you need in the house, you can refer to her. So I think this is a responsibility which a woman, being a mother of the society, is meant to to be. That is how she's meant to be. Sorry. And if we can understand and appreciate that those values, those qualities, it is the basis of even the man stepping out for the day to realize that, look, back home I have every support I need. So I think when she was describing those qualities, it's so encouraging that yes, if every woman in the society will realize being who she is or realizing who she ought to know that she's giving out powers to the world. And that is the basis where men step out strongly because they know they have that power, they have that support coming from the home. But somehow, if I relate it to what is happening presently in my society, meaning the women are the victims of the crisis we found ourselves today. No matter what kind of encouragement you try to give them, you find them breaking down because at the end of the day they lost their husbands, they lost they lost their children, they lost everybody around them, and at the end of the day they are the ones. Like recently we've witnessed a situation whereby it was the women in that society that were burying the men that were killed by the insurgents. So it's so heartbreaking for a woman to be crying at the same time that her child is crying, and at the same time when the husband is lying by her side. So I think if we are going to talk about the strength of a woman from this perspective, I think we should also consider the environment. We should also consider the moment. Is it the moment of peace? Are we referring to? Are we talking about such inspirational quotes coming from my sister Abiola? Or are we referring to a situation of war that we could sing this or we can chant this particular phrases or songs that will motivate a woman in such a society or in such a moment? So I think these are things we should also consider. But all the same, being in a peaceful environment, being in a war situation, it's all the same. All we need is actually to empower the woman with our own all sort of support we can give, so that when she stands, like she read in maybe one of the two or one or I think one, two, three stanzas, she mentioned how the women, when you educate a woman, you educate the society,
Yes.
kind of. So the same thing, if you support a woman, you're also supporting a society. let me end it with that for now.
Well, that's I think we took home a whole semester there, Abiola, with our thoughts. What's your reaction to the guys here that we have with us?
I thought that they well said just across the board, and I like having the global perspective to the conversation. I feel like is a really important aspect of it that, you know, for me, I am the first person in my family born in America. And so a lot of things that, you know, people take for granted in being an American, I can't take for granted. I helped my mother study for her citizenship exam. I have, you know, family members that are afraid that they may be sent back. And, you know, and so for me, I appreciate the global nature of the conversation. And something that I would love for us to talk about, this is a statistic specific to American women that was for me in many ways a catalyst for writing this book, is that there was a study done that showed that, you know, despite all of the advances, you know, of the past 40 years, that people would argue, you know, like, look how much American women have, you know, at their disposal, you know, to even think about self-love, to sit around and think about these things is from a place of luxury, is from a place of privilege to even be having this conversation. And studies show that American women are more unhappy than ever before, you know, than they were 40 years ago with all of the advances of the past 40 years. And so I felt like it was really necessary for us to have a conversation about, you know, about self-worth, about self-esteem, about self-confidence, about how to go inward and garner strength when it may not be coming from the outer society. When, you know, people are looking at you and telling you that you are bad or wrong or flawed or broken or ugly, then where do you get your strength from? And so I would love for us to talk about that.
I also wanted, that's exactly what I have open in my book, because I was going to tell you, this was something that I'm afraid to say in public. You wrote it down for everybody to see, that I feel that our feminist revolution here in the 70s kind of hurt us. It helped, like you said, in education and the workplace. You know, that was fantastic. But if I could just read what you also put, this is awesome. But there's another revolution necessary. Feminine energy qualities were undervalued, deemed less than, and took a back seat. This left us hungry for our very selves, our sacred selves. So all of that revolutionizing we did, and that we didn't have to have a man for everything, set us back a little bit. And as you also continued here, the entire planet is starved for the balance of rich feminine power. Is losing ourselves the price of having it all? It doesn't have to be. It starts with us as individuals taking action to make our own lives more harmonious. So guys, I don't know if you can unpack that a bit, but we are kind of putting the mirror on history here, our privilege, everything. Go ahead.
I agree completely in a sense that, for example, equality does not have anything to do with lack of diversity. We can be feminine and masculine. We can be of whatever culture, ethnicity, background, race, whatever, and we're still equal. And as soon as you start losing what defines you as a man, as a woman, just simply for everyone to be the same, as as soon as you start making divides, that hurts everyone. And that's actually one of the biggest problems that we're facing now. It's that it's us against them, and it's a horrible argument, which everyone loses.
Right. Diversity has to be there. Tom, I can't tell if you want to jump in or not, so you just let me know.
Well, I think that equality is a difficult concept for people to wrap their mind around, because a lot of people what it means. You know, does it mean equality of opportunity? Does it mean equality of outcome? Does it mean equality of your, you know, one's essence? I mean, ultimately, I think it means to me that at root, no one is inherently better than anybody else, or should ever be judged to be better than anybody else. You know, I mean, except in legitimate areas of accomplishment. I mean, people can accomplish more than other people. It still doesn't mean they're a better person. It just means that they have, you know, sort of accomplished more in their life. But I think people get confused about equality and think that it, that it means you have to want the things that someone else has, or that the people who are supposedly above you have, and that then you'll be equal to them in some way. But you're already equal to them. I mean, it's so. I'm not being particularly articulate about this, but I think that understanding what equality actually means, almost going back to sort of a more a softer or more spiritual perspective, and moving it away from that the exact outcomes always have to be equal, would probably be healthy for everybody.
Yeah, and I think we also have to throw in subconsciously thinking about equality and consciously thinking about it too, because I think naturally, just from the way this country was built, we heard that we have an immigrant with us, and then someone who is not living in this country, and it might seem like, yeah, we walk around with a lot of privilege expected, that we expect privilege, but if we consciously think about how we relate to each other, and do we equally relate to each other, gender, race, sexuality, there are some major issues that we have to deal with, and I don't know, Ajiwala, from an outsider's point of view, if you're, yeah, what do you guys think of how we look to you?
Well, Nicole, this is a very critical point to me in the discussion, because I can't take this the mentality within my own environment out of this issue. The mentality has to do with, that is to say, in the first place, whatever you do as an African person, as an African man or woman, you're very conscious about the society, that is the environment. And the first thing that comes into your mind whenever you see the opposite agenda, you know that, yeah, if it's a woman, you know, okay, fine, this is a woman. What I can do, she cannot do. Or what she can do, I cannot do that. And from there, you start building this picture in your head that, look, she could be weak, or she cannot be as strong as the man. And these are the things that comes into play, especially if you are inclined towards a religious point of view. You realize that you can't take that away from your mind, because the moment you try to engage yourself, even if it's a business or a conversation, whatever that you try to engage yourself with a woman, you tend to have that mental picture, an idea that she is somebody that you need to, she's very fragile, she's so, probably, I don't want to use the word weak, and you feel you're much more stronger. And I'm sorry about that. I can see Abiola squeezing her face. She doesn't like this. But I know she's
full of self-love, so you gotta forgive her. Give her a pass. She's full of self-love.
You know what it was, Eduardo? You know what it was? I actually was in Nigeria a few years ago, and so when you said that, I'm thinking, Nigerian women weak. I saw women in the marketplace, in the boardrooms, carrying heavy baskets on their heads, teaching children, tilling soil, and I'm thinking, maybe all the weak women hid when I was there for that time period.
Okay.
I think you've hit on, when you talk about how the feminist revolution took away or in a way invalidated a certain amount of feminine energy, because basically part of it was saying, well, women need to be more like men and go out in the world and do the things that men do, and so you sort of abandon some of that core femininity or feminine energy. I think that men have a kind of a protective impulse towards women that is not all bad or all wrong. And yes, if it's patronizing, it's bad and it's wrong. And if you make an assumption that a woman can't do something for herself when she can, that's wrong. But you can go the other way too. In other words, to say to men, back off, women can do everything for themselves, and you don't need to express any of that kind of warm, protective energy. I think you take something away from men in that process as well, because it can be expressed respectfully.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
in the book, actually, that, that I think that's what exactly what I mean when I said I think that we're all starving, for the lack of that yin energy, that feminine energy.
Right.
Well, I just don't want us to lose our sexuality and our sexiness, you
Yes.
know, and that
Yes.
people think that, oh, well, then they're so hardcore now and don't need the doors open for them or don't have the chivalry is gone, and things like that. No, we like the chivalry and we
Yeah,
like
Yes.
to be
that is something I
like,
deal with constantly because the specifics of the
tell
topic
it, tell it.
I use. No, it's in my case in specific, that's actually my main topic that I handle. It's the essence of being masculine, even if you keep equality alive, the idea of that you're not opening a door because she can't, it's because you're showing additional respect or maybe showing a lot of these little nuances that you have. Something like pulling out a chair. It's because maybe she has a skirt on and it's easier for her to like place the skirt correctly while you're helping her out. It's it's
Yes.
it's practicality and it's helping. It's not saying, well, you can't do it because you're weak. I've seen some women that can do that are a lot stronger than most men I know. So,
But there's also I love that, what you're all saying, because it's so, as Nicole said, we don't want to lose, that polarity, that yin and yang energy. That is what is sexy, that is what attracts. And this goes for couples of all orientations, that masculine and feminine energy, or yin and yang, more people feel more comfortable with those words. That opposite energy is what is hot and what is, sexy on a, if you want to just talk about, relating to each other on that level. But then also, if you want to go back to, a community-minded level, on a brother, sister, or father, mother, daughter, sister, brother level, that we need all of it. We need the feminine energy tools and powers like basic intuition, the ability to go inward, the ability, to have the power to, to be still, and to, that is equally as valuable with active, do, make it happen, energy. And when I first started working, in the love, dating, and relationships field, that I kept joking that I was going to call my coaching practice "Don't Need a Man Coaching," because that's what women were coming to me. That the men were complaining they don't need me, and men wanted to be needed, and they were like, but they don't need me. And women were feeling like, well, I don't need a man, but I want a man, so I don't know why I don't have a man. And it's like, okay, well, if you're approaching it with the energy of I don't need you, who wants to be in a relationship with someone and you look over at them and they're like, I don't need you? Well, I would like my partner to need me a little bit, miss me while I'm gone, want me. And so that kind of conversation has become taboo because it gets confused with the conversation of equality. And so it's great that we're talking about male feminists, because I said to my mother, I said, I'm going to, be doing an interview and a conversation about male feminists. And she was like, male feminists? Like she was stuck in the term and she couldn't get it out of her head. And I said, Mommy, feminism just means that we agree that, in the equality of women and men, on financial and, and these different touchstones. But she couldn't get past the language.
Oh, and that's an era
Um,
in an environment like Ijuala was saying. Go ahead, Ijuala.
Yes, I think in our own environment, what really matters to the men, seeing a woman being herself that is the most important thing. Being herself in the sense that there's the precious thing known as a woman. Sorry, the precious creation not as a woman is that woman that is able to live with those feminine. Bringing out those qualities as a woman. So to some extent, when you try to do what the men are doing, you're losing that originality of being that woman that will attract the man. And for you to be able to attract the man is actually based on the ability to manage those powers, those feminine powers given to you. So there are things actually in terms of motivation, inspiration. The woman stands better chance of doing that if she's able to maintain her own inner energy. That is to say, to bring out those beauties. Those beauty that's given to her from the way she expressed herself, from the way she even like tried to communicate like being herself. But you find a situation whereby those, I'm sorry to use the word, the so-called exposed women within the society sometimes go to talk like men, to act like men. When even they're expressing that energy in them, they try to even act as if they are even much stronger than the men. Before you know it, they're losing the values known to a woman. And as such, the woman gets pissed off with whatever they're doing. And before you know it, it becomes a battle of who sex is there, rather. That is it.
Well, we are done with our time, unfortunately. So, I mean, this went by so quickly, but I do want to get some last words in on how, again, men and women can relate to each other in a healthy way. And first, I want to say that I still like a little bit of the machismo, so I'm fine with the macho man to a point, to an extent. So I just want to throw that out there, that I'm down with us really expressing our sexy selves, especially after reading the Sacred Bombshell Handbook of Self-Love. I love embracing this, so I'm going to leave it there. But I want to go to each of you and, again, just really focus on how we can relate to each other in any kind of relationship, whether it be friend, lover, sister, mother, daughter. How are the men going to have a healthy relationship with women? And how can the women have healthy relationships with you? Because it is International Men's Day. We really want to empower our guys as well tonight. So who wants to start?
Well,
Okay.
this was something brief. You know, be yourself. Don't try to pretend that you have to live up to any stereotype, any societal image, anything that, you know, has been held up to you as the be-all and end-all of what a woman is supposed to be. Just be yourself, and you will find a man you for yourself, because he's out there somewhere.
Exactly, and then of course, you know, any response on how women or how men can relate to possibly some negativity that's coming from maybe the woman who feels that they don't need them. The example we were giving earlier.
Well, you know, everyone has needs. You know, find out if you love somebody what she does need. You know, maybe she doesn't need you to do some of the stereotypical things that women have needed men to do, but maybe she needs you in other ways. You know, intimacy is about connection, and if you connect with somebody emotionally, you're needed in a very important way.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. Who's next? Eduardo?
Okay.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, I think the best way, like you mentioned, you just have to live naturally. Living naturally has to do with you realizing who you are, and because, like we pointed out from the books, we're actually trying to encourage individuals, particularly the women, to know that yes, they have this inner powers or energy within them that they need to exercise to bring it out. But for us to be able to appreciate that, the woman need to conduct herself around the man in such a manner that yes, I mean, women are known with patience, or are known for patience. Women are known with tolerance. Women are known to be much more like accommodating. So a woman should not be such a kind of a very hostile person in most times, because the man goes under stress enough in a day. So it is expected that when they come back home, it is the woman that will actually. I know. I know it's funny because.
Send your hate mail directly to We're joking with you. We're joking with you. Go ahead.
Nicole, I think you need to bring us together. You need to bring myself and Abiola to actually speak to have enough time that this, so that we can understand ourselves.
It's true. It's true.
Or you send her back home to Nigeria to come and stay for a while.
And actually, I'm teasing you that I have a whole section in the book talking about female anger that says nobody wants to tame your shrew. You know,
Yeah, she understands, but
yeah,
I'd have to I'd have to tag along with her if she comes to Nigeria. I want to see it for myself.
So for my
Thank you,
last for my last section, actually, I'm going to speak to the women who are watching and say I want to just give you back a gift of feminine power, which I feel is receiving. I have a whole chapter on receiving, the ability to receive, which is something that is lost, that we can't receive a compliment, much less someone, giving to us in an emotional way. And if you can't receive, then you're going to repel it, you're going to reject it, you're going to throw away the people, the men, that want to give to you. So it's okay to feel comfortable enough in your skin, in your inherent wealth that you have, that is, just innate to who you are, in order to be able to receive.
And I always need to practice that too. Thank you for beautifully
Yeah.
saying that. Eduardo, you are, again, I'm hearing your message of diversity still through all of this, and that was a perfect point, but go ahead and tell us
Well,
what else is
it's
on your
first of all her message, the idea of self-love. You can't be in a relationship if you don't first love yourself. That's a core element. Secondly, she doesn't need you from the point of view of being codependent of you. Of if she's gonna be with you, she's gonna be with you because she's in a relationship with you, not because she needs you, because she's stuck with you, because she doesn't have a way out. Relationships are about two people who are complete, who can join together and make something even bigger than they could alone. And unfortunately, way too many people think I need someone to complete me, I need someone to fix me, I need someone. No, it's about you being loved by yourself and finding someone who loves you maybe as much as you do or even more and can raise you to be even greater than what you are by yourself.
Excellent. I don't know if we'll ever come to agreement on the straight line of how to conduct ourselves between men and women. It's very individual, everybody. And
Wait,
I just
Nicole, wait. Can I,
go ahead.
before you wrap up, I would like to knight the gentlemen who are here. I would like
Oh,
to induct them as Sacred Bombshell ambassadors. Men, you are hereby assigned to go forward in the world, to love, honor, respect, and adore the women that you come in contact with, and to not only remind them of their own greatness, but to stand firmly in your own. So that is my
I love,
Sacred Bombshell
Thank you very
assignment.
much.
I
Thank you.
love that.
I love it too. Wow. You've been knighted, guys.
You've been
Knighted. Yes, Sir Eduardo, Sir Abiola, Sir Tom. Thank you
Yes.
very much
Thank
for
you.
joining the beautiful and always effervescent and fantastic and powerful and just amazing Abiola Abrams. Thank you so much. The Sacred Bombshell. And any questions, please leave it on our YouTube page and we'll get back to you. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Yay.